Hey guys, what's going on? Laying back for an HBO Max review, and today I'm going to be talking about Kimi. Kimi is an American thriller that tells the story of Angela Childs, an agoraphobic tech worker in Seattle who works from home in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic as a voice interpreter for the Amygdala Corporation. One day while working, she comes across an audio file that hints toward a violent crime being committed. She attempts to bring the evidence forward to her superiors at work, but keeps getting the cold shoulder. Eventually, she realizes that she must take matters into her own hands and bring the evidence to the right people in person, which forces her to confront her fears while evading criminals hot on her trail. I decided to branch out from my usual Netflix routine and review a movie on another streaming service, and in this case I'm really glad I did. This was one of the most enjoyable thrillers I've seen in a while, and while it's not perfect, it remains a compelling experience thanks to the lead character of Angela. Zoe Kravitz's performance as Angela was fantastic, though truth be told, I wasn't a big fan of her character at first due to her initially abrasive and off-putting personality, but as more details become revealed about her character, it makes sense as to why she is the way she is. She has a dark past that explains how she became afraid of the outside world, and combining this with the background of the looming pandemic, she finds it difficult to do something as simple as go outside of her apartment room, let alone the building itself. There's lots of little habits her character has that make her phobia more believable in its presentation. She constantly applies hand sanitizer every time she does something, even though she doesn't leave her room. She prefers to schedule appointments by phone instead of in person, and she insists on meeting her next door neighbor at her apartment as opposed to going on an actual date. Coming off from The Woman in the Window, which had an absolutely terrible portrayal of agoraphobia, it was refreshing to see how it was presented here. Angela legitimately suffers from anxiety due to her condition, and this is reflected not just in her behavior, but also in the way the movie is filmed. I've always enjoyed how director Steven Soderbergh films his movies, and this one is no exception. He makes great use of close-up shots as Angela is trying to unravel the mystery of the audio file, which creates a claustrophobic atmosphere that puts the audience in her shoes, therefore ramping up the suspense. And when Angela finds the courage to go outside, the cinematography becomes even more creative. Dutch angles are used to produce a feeling of disorientation as she makes her way about the city, coupled with the muffled city noises and the speech of pedestrians walking by. It was awesome to see tension develop naturally through something as simple as camera work, and that's without getting into the editing, which remains tightly paced as Soderbergh makes good use of rapid cutting between Angela's actions at work, which makes the bit-by-bit solving of the mystery that much more satisfying. Getting back to her character though, Angela is unable to fully trust others in her social circle anymore. Her relationship with her mother is strained, and she refuses to do anything more with her neighbor Terry other than have sex with him in her apartment. She even grows tired of talking to people online, such as her psychologist and coworkers. While I like how the movie shows her social life being impacted by her circumstances, I think it could have gone further in this area. The supporting characters don't have much depth behind them, with some of them even bordering on being caricatures, like with Angela's sexist Romanian coworker Darius. And I'd be lying if I said that the movie wasn't slow at the beginning. Although I don't mind slow burn pacing and build up all that much, it does take a long time for the main premise to kick off, and there's not many interesting things that occur beforehand. This being said, I do like how different types of technology are casually implemented to maintain a persistent sense of fear and tension before and after things get going. Some of this does have to do with the movie's namesake, Kimi, which is a voice assistant product in the same vein as Siri or Alexa. The idea of a voice product being used against corporate overlords instead of the customers buying them is intriguing to consider, and the movie has fun playing with this aspect combined with other technologies like smartphones, video conferences, and even cryptocurrencies. The movie has a modern look and feel to it, at least for now, and it makes sense the way technology is applied throughout the story, as Angela's movements are tracked everywhere she goes. This helped me become invested in her quest to unveil the truth, as she has to deal with one threat after another as opposing forces try to sweep their crime under the rug. Some elements of Angela's character during the outside scenes could have been done better. I never understood why she didn't just throw away her cell phone so she could avoid being tracked, or how she was able to get over her agoraphobia so easily once it came time for her to go outside, despite clearly having an anxiety attack over it in the beginning. Ultimately though, it's never a huge deal, as Angela remains a decent character and the movie is able to consistently maintain suspense. The thrill sequences take a while to happen, but when they do, they are fantastic. They're classic cat and mouse scenarios where Angela has to navigate the city of Seattle while avoid getting caught by hitmen who are responsible for the death of the victim who Angela learns about. They're simple in scope, but I still found myself on the edge of my seat while watching them. Using the COVID-19 pandemic as a backdrop for this movie's events was a great narrative decision. I was worried the movie would go overboard with it and make the story overly dystopian, but it ended up working exactly in the movie's favor, as it's very normal in its approach while still using it to reinforce political and technological themes, as well as Angela's anxiety to the world. The subdued ambient soundtrack ties in amazingly with this too. I can't fully explain it, but there's something Hitchcockian about how it's presented that I really liked. There's interesting choices that are made with the orchestration, and it contributed to my enjoyment of the movie. All of this leads to an ending that is a little bit silly, but I can't deny that I loved it. I don't want to say anything more about it without revealing spoilers, but the way Angela's character develops at that moment was extremely satisfying to see. I actually ended up cheering out loud from my couch. That's how much fun it was. Overall, Kimi is a fantastic thriller that won't necessarily blow anyone's minds, but it remains an absorbing and tense experience throughout. If you like tech-oriented thrillers and you're looking for one that's set in a truly modern setting, I think this movie would be right up your alley. There are some flaws and inconsistencies with the characters and story, but once it got going, I couldn't stop watching it. Its great lead characters, stunning technical presentation, and thoughtful use of its setting all add up to make an excellent thriller story, one that I hope will set an example for pandemic-set films going forward. What did you think about this movie? Did you enjoy the presentation of its main character and themes, or was its pacing too slow for your liking? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of Kimi. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the romantic drama, The Sky is Everywhere. Bye bye!